feel as though you've raised the game. I feel as though the bar has been lifted. This is real, proper, crystal brandy glasses.
It is.
And also a rather expensive mojito.
Margarita.
Oh, God. Man caves and mojitos.
Well, at least it starts with the same letter.
Margarita. Mate, that's... Cheers.
I think these are going to be quite strong. Oh,
this
should have got some ice. Should have got some ice. Yeah, this is nice.
Yeah, you've let us down, mate. You've let us down. Crystal glasses, no ice, nice settee.
Yeah.
Massive. Well, can I just say, this is my first time in your man cave, and I love the fact that it's totally different to mine.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah.
These are the things I already like about your man cave. Okay. I like its size.
Oh. What do you mean? Because it's like you can stretch your legs, or?
Yeah, I like that. I like the fact that it feels quite open. Because you're on a projector and not a TV like mine,
right.
means we'll get a bigger screen. I like that too.
Yeah.
I also like the way you've decorated it with your paraphernalia, your own personal paraphernalia, actually.
Yeah, so these are all my photos, most of them. They were already framed, because I'm a photographer who likes to frame his own photos. So rather than put movie posters in there, I didn't want to, spend the time swapping them all around and stuff. Plus, this is partly my office as well, so it still has to.
Okay,
yeah.
So it's dual. It's got a dual purpose.
Yeah, but when I was sorting it out, it didn't come together until I put the pictures up. It still looked like just a garage.
Well,
but as soon as the pictures went up, it was like, oh, okay.
You've made it. Definitely, you're making it your own man cave, and that's no bad thing. I have to say though, you kept it very quiet that you got a framed picture of Pulp Fiction though.
Well, that's actually Claire's, and it was in the flat. But I thought I'll bring it with me.
Yeah, very nice little touch.
That's the only film poster up there, apart from some of the films we've done. I'm not going to mention.
I'm going to mention that one.
so I hope
Hellblazer though, that was cool. Shout out to Hellblazer. See up there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm mega excited. I know nothing about what we are going to be watching today.
Right, so we had True Romance last time. And then I was going to choose Jackie Brown, but then I realised same genre, same, same people, whatever. So I've gone for something. You couldn't be any more different, but kind of like the same era. So I'm not one of those film buffs that knows about dates and things. I'm going to guess like maybe 1999, right?
Okay, so late 90s, let's say.
Yeah, let's guess at that. So it's a science fiction film.
Sci-fi, late 90s.
But it also has incredible action pieces in it.
Well, I know what I'm going to go for straight away as my guess, right?
I think you'll be able to get it straight away.
If you're talking set pieces that were quite revolutionary at the time.
They were the game changer.
Right, well, there were two sci-fi films that came out in the very late 90s. In fact, they were 99. One of them is not what I would call a game changer, and that was The Phantom Menace. That was the one that was supposed to do big bucks. But the one that came out at the same time that did better is one of my favourite sci-fi films, if it is this. Is it The Matrix?
It is! Oh! Well done.
Okay, brilliant. I'm ready to take the red pill?
Yeah.
Or the blue pill?
I can't remember. I think
it's a red one.
We're going to find out.
Right, 50-50. I'm going to say, if you want to go down the rabbit hole, red pill.
Right.
What do you reckon?
I can't remember. Yeah, red seems to make sense. Danger.
Oh,
blue,
mate.
Blue's safe.
So I'm psyched now. Well done.
Oh, good. Well, let's not...
I haven't seen this as well for too long.
I've not seen it for a very long time. I have noticed every time I watch it, it's like watching it fresh because it's just so well done. I just want to say shout outs to my friends Kim and Dan. Yes. They do a film festival. It was on last week that's set out in the woods in Nottinghamshire called Holdra, and they're looking for sponsorships. If anyone's interested in sponsoring, give me a shout. I'll tell you about it and maybe put you in touch. So, you ready for The Matrix, son?
I'm ready.
Wicked.
Agent Smith.
Fantastic.
Oh, what a choice. I'm really happy.
Oh, good. Good.
Mate, first of all, what a choice.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I had no idea if you'd seen it before, if it was your type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, Again, you know what? You forget how old these films are. 99. So what's that?
23 years. Yeah. I know.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much we can talk about with The Matrix, especially when you think about the other two films that came after. But I think for ease sake, otherwise we'd be here for about 5 hours. Let's imagine that 2 and 3 don't exist.
Okay, I could do
right?
that easy enough.
Yeah, because what a film.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think that film needed part 2 and 3, you know, because it ends on such a perfect note, and you're not left thinking, oh my God, I can't wait to see what happens next, you know, because your imagination just goes wild, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, totally. It's like, yeah, he is the one. There's so much.
He basically turns into Superman.
Yeah, that's right. Mind you, if that was me, I'd probably live in the Matrix all the time then, just so I could be all powerful.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with a question then. Here's a question then, right? So, you're presented with the red and the blue pill, okay? But you already know what's waiting for you if you take the red pill.
Right.
Would you take the blue pill and just want to be completely unaware?
I guess it depends what kind of life you're living, isn't it? You know.
That's true.
I mean, if you're like married with kids and you've got a beautiful life and stuff, you won't want to throw all that away. But if you're like disgruntled and don't feel quite at odds with the world, you know.
Yeah. So like,
But,
if you was a tramp, you take the red pill every time. But if you was like a millionaire, you'd be like, no.
Yeah, it's a good philosophical question to be fair.
So like the gut. So again, better do the normal warning.
Spoilers.
So Joe Pantoliano, I can never say his surname. Pantoliano, the bad guy, who eats the steak and is like,
Oh, right, okay.
Okay. If you think of things from his perspective, he's saying, "I'll do this for you, but in return, I want to lead that high lifestyle. I want to be that rich, and I want to be famous and a superstar, and I want to be this and be that. But also, I want you to wipe my memory totally clean." Meaning, as soon as he goes back into the Matrix, he'll have all the trimmings and he'll have no guilt.
Yeah.
Would you do that?
Well, the interesting thing about that is there's blatantly no way they would have plugged him back into the Matrix. They would have just killed him, wouldn't they?
Oh, I suspect so.
Or he would have got like collateral damage or whatever. So like like the length, you know, mentally where he had to be to accept that, I think that might like be a realistic option for him. Is quite crazy. And also like, yeah, you could think I would take that choice, but he actually kills some of his comrades.
Yeah, he does.
So that's
but
hard to imagine.
He won't be able to remember it though.
No, true. I mean, it's done in a way that it seems like realistically someone might take, you know, someone might end up in that.
Yeah, that situation. Someone would take it, surely.
Yeah. It was done. Yeah, it was done really well. There was quite a few like philosophical things going on in there, wasn't there?
Yeah.
One thing. I mean, I've seen the film about 5 times, and every time I see it, it feels like a fresh journey again because they fit so much in there.
There's a lot in there, isn't there?
Yeah,
in the space of 2 hours. I mean, it's 2 hours long, give or take. And I mean, 2 hours back in '99 seemed a decent length for film, didn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, 20 odd years later, and 2 hours seems average, doesn't it? Really,
it's about normal, yeah.
You know, 2 hours 20, 2.5 hours now for the.
But they filled it all with like momentum and proper like pacing and storytelling.
Is there a boring bit in there at all?
I personally don't think so. No, there's no fat.
So there's nothing in there that you think, oh, if I was editing that now, I'd maybe take that out. Just like you say, just to trim the fat a little bit.
Well, the concept is so high that to get from where it began to where it ended up, and for it to make sense, I think you need all the bits. It's all there to help you get to the destination. Me personally, I'm sure they probably did trim some stuff out. Most films do end up having deleted scenes, don't they? What did you think?
I'm the same. I liked it full fat.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned, if that was full fat, I thought that was just perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, like we've talked before when we were talking about True Romance, we were talking about how well a film runs and the timing of it. Like say from an entertainment point of view, you know, you normally have like the setup then you'll have something big and action will happen, and then you'll have some more, supposition and exposition, and stuff like that. And you'll have another thing, but for me, that was all kind of high peak stuff. But it was telling the story at the same time, so you were getting to understand. It's like when they do the training montage for Neo. At the same time, you're seeing all that, I know kung fu, blah, blah, all that sort of stuff. It's also giving you knowledge about the Matrix, how it works, and what they're doing for him, without it being boring in any way at all.
Yeah.
And I love that.
I remember the first time, maybe the first two times I saw it, I was like, it's actually really confusing when you don't know what's happening. Obviously, like when you've seen it a few times, you know what to expect. But it just starts off like a lot of films that they'll start off with like, this is your character, this is his life. They'll stretch it out a bit. There's something weird will happen, but it doesn't do that in the Matrix. It basically starts off and within 1 minute, there's a woman spinning in midair, running around a wall, and it's just like, what am I even looking at here? And each little segment, each little scene is slowly peeling back the layers for you. And when you first see it, you have no idea what's going on. It's not confusing in a bad way.
No.
It's just you are literally in Neo's shoes, where you're like, I don't understand.
Which is great, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's great. I mean, you're right, actually, because, again, the beauty of seeing a film for the very first time is that you are left finding out stuff as the film progresses. Once you've seen the film and you know what's going to happen, you then watch it, but you watch it with a different mindset, I think.
You see how clever they've released each little bit of information to you. Yeah. And for something that's of such a high concept, they would have only need to make like a couple of mistakes and the whole thing would have fall flat on its face. And that's the genius of the Matrix, is that you never have to think, right, I'm just going to suspend that disbelief that you have to sometimes, because you're just in it, and you're like on this journey with Neo as
it's hard. I mean, I'm sure people out there you can pick plot holes in anything, can't you? But to do that with that film would be a real shame, because the whole concept and the way it's all been put together, it just, from a sci-fi point of view, it just works so well. I mean, we know scientifically the human body can't be a battery; it doesn't produce enough, like they say. But they kind of cover that by saying that the machines also create some sort of formula and whatever.
Yeah, there's some kind of fission going on.
Yeah, fusion. That's it. And it's like, okay, well, I'm happy with that.
That
works for me.
Yeah.
And the fact that they might have 4-6 billion people in pods and maybe more of they're growing them. I mean, it's scary in places, isn't it?
I actually thought, right, that it could be a horror film. It's
easy.
not that far removed from being a horror film,
I mean, the Sentials, the design of all of those. I mean,
they're in constant danger from the beginning of the film all the way to the end. It's just constant danger all the time.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit then about the effects, because I mean, special effects now, and I think you might feel differently about me, but I still really love seeing prosthetics.
Right.
But that doesn't mean I don't like CGI, because I think if CGI is done well and works well and it doesn't take you out of the film, fantastic. I mean, in fact, the best CGI is when you don't know they're doing CGI, I suppose, is what you'd say, isn't it? Or a mix of the two tends to be what really works well these days, a little bit of both. I think Jurassic Park's really good for that, having the puppeteered dinosaurs, but then going CGI for the full size and that sort of thing. It's like a lovely little mix.
Yeah.
Whereas in that, I would imagine probably, apart from the sets, any of the stunts and stuff, apart from the actors' movements and things like that, it looked very high CGI. But because they're inside the Matrix, even though it might be slightly dated, but I still thought it looked absolutely amazing still.
It did.
Even though the effects in the day were incredible, they might be a little bit more dated now. But for me, that actually works even more, because the whole idea is, if they're inside the Matrix, it's not real.
Yeah, there's some really interesting bits, wasn't there, inside the Matrix, where like the Matrix would wobble a bit.
Yes.
Which then you're reminded that it is a computer construct.
You're right.
The whole
Actually,
thing.
there's a couple of little scenes, isn't there, that aren't action scenes where there's a little bit of.
Yeah. Look.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. Cool.
It was very ahead of its time though. Like, so I think that there is some shots that you think are CGI that aren't, right? So say like when Neo's dodging those bullets and he's leaning back, I've seen behind the scenes of how they did that, and it's not CGI. They basically set up like 50 cameras in a circle,
Big circle,
and they all took like photos within like a tenth of a second of each other, like, and then they stitched it all together in post.
Like a flip book.
Like a flip book, yeah. So,
Cool.
but obviously smoothed it all out. So when the camera's going round and when he's coming back like that, it's actually done like with
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, you can't tell, can you? You don't. The lines are blurred in it. As to
You can't believe the film that we've just watched from at the time the Wachowski brothers, wasn't it at the time, and it's Wachowski sisters now. But you can't believe that at the time, having done that, they would then go on to do films like Speed Racer or things like that, which just
it baffles. It does baffle belief, doesn't it?
Yeah, you can't. I mean, again, I'm sure the beauty of film is everybody has a different opinion on whether a film's good or bad. And it's not for me to say to somebody, no, you're wrong, that's a bad film. I think that's totally wrong to say that. A film is good if you like it. Simples, right? But for me, I still think The Matrix is their peak. And that was only like their second. I think they did one prior that. I think it's called Bound. I'm sure it's called Bound, and it's a thriller. It's good. It's a really good film.
Right.
But then moving from that to The Matrix was like, wow, like really wow.
Matrix just came out of the blue, didn't it?
You know. And I think after The Matrix, they probably were working on 2 and 3 because of the amount of money it pulled in and that. I don't know whether they had the whole story in their heads when they were doing it, but it just got I mean, I liked 2 and 3, but boy, did they get really deep. Whereas that just keeps it tight, simple, like you say, perfect. If that was the only one, that'd be great. But they've never peaked. They've never done anything better than The Matrix.
Well, to achieve something like the Matrix, it can't be lucky. You know, it can't be a coincidence that all these elements came together at one particular time. Sometimes you shine brightly, and then your candle goes, and it's almost like they put everything about their creativity went into that one movie, and it all because it almost seems impossible to make, because you got to think like 1999, those kind of concepts had never been really touched upon before, and for them to create something so deep and impactful and tightly intertwined, and successfully deliver it for like 2 hours from scene one to the end, it just seems impossible. How on earth could you possibly do that without seeing through the cracks, without like major plot holes or things that rub the wrong way, or
Yeah. I wonder if it went through any script rewrites or things like that, or if it did, how many, or whether they were working off a script that they'd done together that they didn't really have to change much.
Right. If this is wrong, I apologise, but apparently that they stole that script.
Did they?
Yeah. And
really?
it went to court like 15 years later. So I think it might have been a Canadian woman wrote it and sent it to various, studios and picture houses and studios and stuff. And then about 7 years later, it suddenly got picked up and was made into The Matrix. And she took it to court, and they found the Wachowskis guilty of plagiarising the whole script.
No way, are you serious?
Yeah, and they awarded her like 100 million or something in damages.
Why do I not know this?
If I dreamt that, I apologise. It's the only thing I know about The Matrix behind the scenes.
If that's true, that's nuts. I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
And it's funny because when Matrix first came out, I didn't tell you, the first time I saw Matrix, I didn't even like it.
Did you not?
I didn't, because the hype got to me.
Right.
Like I became guilty of like not liking the hype and wanting to be like different. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
And
Yeah.
also, I could see some of the influences they stole from as well. Like they stole a lot of the visual influences from like some Japanese anime and stuff.
Yeah, it's very much like a living, breathing anime film. When you
Yeah.
watch it. I was thinking that.
I was wrong though. I was wrong. The second time I saw it, I put my hands up and said,
Yeah.
"That's one of the best films I've ever seen."
Now I can see where you're coming from.
I've
though.
never been more wrong.
It's really, really weird. This is the God's honest truth. The scene at the start when Carrie-Anne Moss is running when Trinity's running across the rooftops, and she's got the police chasing after her. I was thinking, God, this is so anime.
Not really.
I was thinking like it looks so Ghost in the Shell or that sort of thing. Yeah.
That's its major influence, Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, and I was thinking, wow. Yeah. So that's really weird you've said that. Yeah. But again, and for me, I mean, I love all that sort of stuff anyway.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's a beautiful film from beginning to end. It's aged really well. Keanu Reeves is absolutely a revelation in it.
Well, yeah, I mean, would that be his... No, Point Break would be his... No, Point Break, Speed. He'd already done quite a bit of action by
Bill and Ted.
Yeah, he's done comedy. So he's done comedy, he's done... I don't know what... I think action film-wise, prior to The Matrix, we'd seen him as an action guy.
He looked like someone that would be the one.
Yeah, I can't imagine anybody else being Neo, can you?
And I remember back in the day in Nottingham, like going out and seeing these blokes walking around with black trench coats on and big boots and sunglasses. And me thinking, that is the squarest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I tell you what, honestly, you go to like Birmingham and you go to like the movie conventions and Collectomania and stuff like that, you will still see guys walking around as Neo. That's how big an impact it had,
Wow.
You know? And to say it only had the 3 films and nothing else. Well, it had 3 films. I don't know if you know this, but there's
Animatrix.
Yes. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's cool, actually, because of the as well as it being shorts, each one's a different style of cartoon, too. A bit like I think it's called Love, Death and Robots now.
On Netflix.
Which, if you haven't seen that, put everything down after this and then go and watch that, because that is...
Love, Death and Robots.
Just
amazing,
right?
Yeah, absolutely incredible.
Yeah. So the Animatrix kind of adds more lore, doesn't it, to it all, which is kind of cool.
I'd love to see Animatrix again, actually. It was really good. Yeah.
I guess the only thing with the other 2 films, I'm not even going to talk about the 4th film. I still can't believe, again...
I'm glad you said that, because I thought it might come up as one of the films in our...
I'm never going to put you through something like that.
Good.
No way. I might put you through a guilty pleasure like Real Steel, which if you don't know what that is, it's great. It's a boxing film with robots. But I would never put you through Matrix 4.
That was bad.
It was bad on all kind of levels of bad.
Weirdly bad.
And you just got to do a comparison for starters. I mean, look at the fight scene, like when he's training and fighting in Matrix 4, and compare that to the fight scene that he has with Morpheus, and the way it's the way it's shot.
Yeah.
I mean, why is that from the same directors? Because it's pretty boring for starters.
Well, the heart didn't seem in it, did it?
It didn't need to... I mean, it's just a cash cow, isn't it, I suppose?
Yeah, apparently it's like quite meta, because there's a bit in Matrix 4 where they're like... Because, he's going to make the 4th computer game or whatever. And they're like, look, we're going to make it with you or without you. Apparently that's what happened with the film, Matrix 4. They said to the Wachowskis...
Oh, we're going to do it as a computer game?
No, they said, we're going to make it, the film... With or without you.
Oh, I see.
So that's like only one of them came back, but they were.
Yeah, was it? I don't know which one. Lana, probably. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I see what you mean. Right. So really, that's them having a dig at the studio within their own film.
Yeah.
Wow.
And because it's funny you should say that, because that's one thing. Right. So the film we just watched, Matrix, the camera moves during the action scenes are absolutely fantastic.
There's a lot of what you said.
So well thought out. I mean, how did they do it? They must have had an amazing communication with like the camera team and the lighting team and stuff to get everything.
You can't imagine. There's definitely stuff like really expensive action scenes in there that you can't repeat.
Yeah, they did get, actually, the choreographer was like a big Asian
I was going to say
martial
big
arts.
Asian martial arts guy.
Yeah, and you can see it, can't you?
Like
'Cause
the string, like wire work.
the wire work and the choreography. Because I remember, like, I was saying, like, when I first saw Matrix, I didn't like it,
Yeah.
and that's another reason. Is because at the time as well, I was into a lot of Asian martial arts movies, and
Right.
the combat to me at the time, obviously it wasn't good. But of course, it's not going to be as good. It's just me being like judgmental. But now when I look at it, I'm like, wow, considering that's Keanu Reeves, when you actually look at what he's doing, it's actually quite impressive.
And
But did
Hugo
you find,
Weaving as well.
Yeah.
Don't forget Hugo Weaving. He's not a young man he's probably about my sort of age, maybe slightly younger, but he's not a young guy in The Matrix.
Yeah.
Agent Smith. But
Did you find, when I've noticed when I was watching it, the action scenes, there's something a bit weird about them. Almost like I was trying to work out if they shot it like going slow and then sped it up, but tried to cover that up, or there was some weird
increase the FPS frames per second and stuff. Maybe shot it and then sped it.
sped it up. Yeah, just because I'm not saying that's what they did, but there was something weird about them all. Where
I think because they were running it at normal speed and then slow mo and then back to normal speed. I thought maybe it kind of tricks your mind
yeah, maybe
a little bit. Although I'm sure there's bits in there that probably have been a little bit more.
Yeah, there was just a little artifact of the scenes that I couldn't quite work out what was going on.
I quite like the idea that some of the scenes when they're in the Matrix seem slightly unreal because
true.
I mean, if you look at the art style as well, there's a definite definitive style of camera work that they do when they're in the Nebuchadnezzar. Compared to when they're inside the Matrix as well, the lighting that they use and all this sort of stuff, which again sort of like gives you this otherworldly feel when you're inside the Matrix, which is again it's really cool, which I never picked up on at all watching it for the first time.
I didn't pick up on it this time watching it, so well done. Yeah, that's
stylized though,
that's
isn't
interesting.
it? How stylized is it?
Yeah, it's so they got that, like, the colour grade as well as like that kind of sickly green.
That's right.
Tint.
That's when they're mainly inside the Matrix.
Is it?
If you think about it, and think about all the letters for the Matrix. What colour? What colour are all the Matrix? It's all green, isn't it?
Yeah. So that kind of colour grade had never been done before either, and that was like ended up kind of not quite as much as that, but you can see how the influence of the Matrix is spread out to a lot of other things.
So what would be the reason that drew you to picking this in your film list then? Because I must admit I'm having fun looking at what I might want to choose for our next one, and there are certain reasons why I'm going to choose certain films.
Right.
So is there a certain reason for that one, do you think?
There is, but it's not going to be anything that's going to make you think, wow, dwyz is quite an intellectual dude.
I already think that already.
It's basically the only Blu-ray I own. Honestly.
Thank God you don't own Mary Poppins on Blu-ray then, or something like that. Although that's a great film, actually. Sorry, Mary Poppins fans.
So I did mention it was going to be Jackie Brown, and I was going to obviously buy that.
Oh, really?
But when I changed my mind, and the days started creeping up, and I was like, oh, God, I don't have a Blu-ray.
And then you can't ask me to borrow any, because then I'll know what film it is.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But I'm looking forward to, like, during this process of making these, I'm looking forward to buying the DVDs when it's my turn.
Getting a little collection.
And building up a nice collection of really
interesting.
interesting.
Get yourself a little shelf in here, won't you?
Yeah.
And then we can make
that
a
screen,
list.
there's loads of cabinets behind that screen.
We definitely need to make a list. We'll just need to rewatch these to make a list of the films. See what different films we've had, and we'll see what you've got.
Right. But getting back to the Matrix, there was one thing I couldn't quite work out, like metaphorically or spiritually, the Oracle.
The Oracle, yes, okay.
I couldn't work out who she was supposed to be, or where she got her insight or her powers, because she was inside the Matrix.
Yeah, I think.
But she was self-aware of.
Yeah, I might have this wrong, okay, but if I remember, which also leads me to believe they had 2 and 3 already in their heads prior to doing the first one. I think the Oracle's a program inside the Matrix. And what the Matrix or what the machines do with the Matrix is to give humans hope. I can't believe I did that. I just did that. I'm sorry. Right, to give humans hope, okay, they have this underlying story of Neo the One, and it's like this ongoing cycle. So like in the second Matrix, Matrix Revolutions, is that the second one? Whatever.
No idea.
In the second one, he meets the architect, and the architect behind him has like hundreds of TV screens.
Yeah.
And on each TV screen, there's a different version of Neo that's already been and gone.
Really?
Yeah, and so the Oracle is there kind of as a linchpin to keep the story going. Okay, all right. So it starts to get baking your noodle yet.
Yeah. Noodle baked.
Noodle baked. So yeah, so it's like when she says what she says to Neo about you're not the one. You have the gift, but you're waiting for something. If she hadn't have said that to him, there's a high chance he wouldn't have gone back into the Matrix to save Morpheus. And he only went back in because he believed he wasn't the one. So he believed it was okay to put himself at risk. And by going back in, he then finds out that
You've properly baked my noodle there.
Honestly, if you go online and check it out, there's so much.
I don't. There's certain films that I don't like to look at stuff because. It's got a bit of tummy ache there. No, that's my tummy.
We haven't introduced Jack yet.
No. Hello, this is Jack, everyone. My mum's dog. Hello, Jack.
Sweetest dog ever.
So well behaved. There's certain films that I know that I'm going to be able to watch for the next 15, 20 years. You know what I mean? Once every 2 or 3 years, and so I avoid kind of looking at stuff to do with it because then when I come to watch it again, I'm picking up more and
stuff for yourself.
It's fresh. But there was another bit I was going to ask you about, which is near the end when Neo gets shot and he's dead. He's got no pulse, and Trinity's like, you must be the one because it was prophesied that I would fall in love with the one, and she kisses him and he comes back alive. What? Because he was physically dead because his heartbeat stopped.
Yeah, his heartbeat had stopped. When you're dead in the Matrix, you're dead mentally, aren't you? But when your brain dies, when your mental brain dies, then obviously your body dies too. So being shot, he wasn't physically being shot, but his brain was being killed, wasn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
But if there was part of him that at any point at all understood that he was in the Matrix, he wasn't really being shot, and he had the power to know that, then he could overcome the fact that had happened.
With love.
I think the fact that she was telling him, maybe if you want to get a bit sort of deep and saucy with it, we could say maybe even though his heart had stopped, there's part of him that could hear what she was saying.
She's telling him that he is the one.
You are the one.
So he can take control.
And if he heard that, he could maybe then take control, and that was what got him going again.
It's a well-written story, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be brilliant if there's people that watch this that want to comment on the thread with their ideas and their thoughts on it, which it might be different, then please do. I mean, we all see different things, don't we?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of deeper stuff that we haven't picked up on.
There's so much religious undertones as well. Even in all the names, Nebuchadnezzar and Neo and Morpheus, there's so many hidden meanings.
I was going to ask you about Neo. Like, why is he called Neo?
Well, what do the 3 letters spell?
One.
Yeah, exactly. So that nothing's wasted. All right,
but who decided to call him Neo though?
Okay, this is it. You see. My noodle's baked.
What's his name? Joseph Anderson.
Yeah,
so
Thomas
Anderson. But
Mr. Anderson.
So they rescue him, pull him out of his pod. Do they just come up with his name then?
Well, no.
Is it prophesized?
He was Neo in the Matrix, but Neo was his pirate name, his computer hacking name, wasn't it?
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Did you watch that film?
Yeah.
And I'm
Well,
joking.
there's a lot. There's a lot to
There's
take in.
so much to take in.
There is a lot to take in because
So much.
most films, right, like the kind of writing process of the journey or whatever will take place in like say like 4 or 5 major kind of locations and big happenings.
Yeah.
But with Matrix, it's like bang, 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 bang. There's about 15. It's mad. It's so much to take in.
And think about as well, from a filming point of view, the amount of action sequences in that film as well that they had to do. Because, just 2 of those in an action film now, if they were put in the right places, would be enough for a lot of studios to go, yeah, no, that's fine. But that film, the helicopter, the big shootout with the pillars. Oh, by the way, that at the end when the camera goes back to the pillars after they've all been like completely shot to bits, I think it's just a stroke of luck that as the camera was rolling, that piece fell off. But what a timing! Can you imagine that? I bet they were all like.
There's like a couple of like comedy moments in it which I thought were quite odd, but it fit in like so when Neo like goes into the body of Agent Smith, do you know what I mean, and takes like blows him up, and those two look at each other and they just leg it. It's like
I'm out of it.
That's almost like a little comedy kind of like.
It was, man.
It was so out of place, really, but it just worked.
Yeah, it did work. It did work at the right time, didn't it?
Yeah.
I always feel when I watch that, and I think I've probably seen that about the same amount of times as you, actually.
Right.
Over the course of 20 years, though, that's about once every 5 years, isn't it? When you think about it. See how quick I did the math there?
Impressive.
So maybe I've seen it about 4 times.
I think I've seen it about 6.
Okay, so you're a little bit ahead. But when you watch that, I always feel a little bit sorry for, when they first walk in to the, I don't know what scene, how you want to describe it, but when they go in for the big, massive, we want guns, lots of guns, and they go in to try and rescue Morpheus, right? And they first walk into the building, and Neo walks through the metal detector. And you've got those 3 guards, but they're just like, white shirts.
Yeah.
I feel quite sorry for them because in their heads, they're just doing their normal day-to-day job inside the Matrix. They don't know, do they, that the Matrix is doing what it's doing. So I just imagine them saying, see you later, Glennis. Oh, have a nice day, darling. Oh, it should be a bit boring, really. I'm just sort of sitting on the desk, not expecting anyone today. Next thing, Neo turns up, Trinity turns up, and gets shot to... And I just feel really sorry for them. It's like, oh, did they deserve that?
Because their bodies in their pod then die, don't they?
Dead.
And then they just get liquefied and fed as food.
Did you have a nice day at work today, darling? Well, a guy all in black and great big shoes came in. I legged it.
I noticed another thing as well. So the scene where he's in his training still, and they get transported. I think it's the scene where the girl in red appears.
Yeah, the woman in red, yes.
So there's like three. There's a lot of people because it's a crowded street scene, right? And there's like, is this mic working? Hello? 1, 2.
Yeah, see it.
1, 2. Got paranoid then.
Right, as long as the lights don't go out.
Isn't that right, Jack?
Yeah.
So yeah, the scene where there was like 300 like people, like street scene. Basically, I don't know if you noticed, but everyone was just wearing black.
Yeah.
There's no colour at all.
Just so she stood out, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you something else I'd noticed, and this is a first because I haven't actually noticed this before. In that same scene when he goes freeze, and everybody's made to stop. If you look closely, some of the people are repeated.
Oh.
Because it's a program.
Yeah.
They're not actually in the Matrix there. They're in their own made-up program, aren't
they?
they?
Of course they are, yeah.
And you see some of the people are the same people repeated.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that the first time you spotted that?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And that's that woman in red scene as well. And I've not spotted that before. That's the very first time I've seen that. Because I've been too interested in looking at other things and thinking about it and whatnot,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, very, very, very cool indeed.
Yeah.
All right, we haven't talked about the music yet.
It all went over my head. I didn't even notice.
The score.
I didn't notice the score, no.
The thing I like about the score is that, well, first of all, it really fits the tone of the film. Secondly, when they use it, it's used really well to build tension or to let you know that the action's starting to come, things like that. So I really like it for that. But it's not that overpowering that it detracts, which is what you're saying, isn't it? It didn't detract you from the film. It was there, but you didn't notice it.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? When you watch a film, sometimes you can get a different experience each time. Sometimes you won't notice the score. Sometimes you'll pick up on the music. Like the one thing I did notice during this viewing is how good the Foley is. Like all the sounds of the guns.
Super clear, wasn't it?
Yeah, super clean. Like all the clack of the guns. If a gun's thrown on the floor, the metal sound of it crashing onto the concrete.
Cracking his knuckles.
Or like, cracking knuckles.
His head.
Like getting pushed in the fight scenes into a brick wall and you can hear all the brick crumbling. And it's funny, depending on how a movie takes you in, if you can notice different things about it, can't you?
Yeah. If you're looking for it as well, I suppose. I don't know what made me think about the score. No, I do know what made me think about the score. There was part of me thinking, I might want to talk about it for this. So I listened to it more, I think. That's probably what it was.
Yeah,
so in a way, doing this is making me more interested in other parts even. Which is not a bad thing.
I've noticed, the 2 films we watched so far, it's a different experience knowing you're going to have to talk about it. I mean, I watching a lot of people that talk about films on YouTube and stuff, you can tell they've put quite a lot of effort into analysing it beforehand and preparing themselves and stuff. I haven't done any because I just want to get that experience of. I want it to be organic.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, rather than pre-planned.
Yeah, organically talk about it, the effect it had on you afterwards.
Well, I think one of the beauties of what we're doing is we're looking at it as Joe blogs. Right?
Yeah.
Just your everyday bloke or woman. Doesn't have to be a bloke. Are you okay, just checking, but it doesn't matter. But it doesn't you haven't got to be super knowledgeable about anything for this.
No.
Watch the film, talk about it. What did you like about it? If you didn't like it, what didn't you like about it? And as far as I'm concerned, that's great. I mean, a good film as well. A good film doesn't have to be one that you like. I mean, sometimes films that you hate with a passion can still be good because they've evoked some sort of emotion. The worst films, I think, are the films that you'll watch and then completely forget about and then never watch again. And it's not because they're really bad or because they're or really good. It's because literally they're in the middle and they're just like that, like grey.
It's usually because there's no passion put into it.
Yeah, they're just grey. If they were a colour, that sort of film would be a grey film.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah,
we've all seen those, haven't we?
Yeah. I watched a really bad film the other day called Moonfall.
Oh no,
It's so terrible, but in a way I quite enjoyed it because it was just so ridiculous.
Over the top.
And you would never call it grey. Do you know what I mean? It's like obviously it's not in the slightest bit good, but
it's definitely not a grey film though. It's one of those so bad it's watchable.
Yeah, just in the turn your brain off and kind of like watching a car crash.
Yeah, it is really. It's like laughable, some of it, but I know exactly what you mean. So hopefully there'll be no grey films. But again, film's what you make it. What's one man's wine is another man's water.
Yeah.
And that's again something interesting about what we're doing.
Yeah. So
we should score our films. We haven't scored them or anything.
Do you think?
I think we could perhaps maybe do that. For overall enjoyment, though, not for anything specific, for how much you enjoyed it. So it doesn't matter.
Right, so we're not doing out of 10 or anything. We're just.
What should we score? Well, score it out of. Let's call it margaritas, not mojitos. Let's just say, was that a margarita for you? Or if it's not a margarita, what's the worst cocktail you can have?
Strawberry daiquiri.
Oh, quite nice, you cheeky bugger. All right, we'll go. If it's strawberry daiquiri.
Hold on, the worst cocktail you can have is a non-alcoholic cocktail.
All right then. So let's say cucumber then. Just a cucumber. Can you imagine? No, a stinging nettle cocktail. That's it. No alcohol, just nettles and water. So if it's a nettle cocktail, we didn't like it.
All right.
If it's a margarita, we liked it.
Right.
If it's a double margarita, We really liked it. How's that?
This is
Simple?
ridiculous.
Okay.
Right, you score it out of 10.
Okay.
I'll just say whether I liked it or not.
All right, then that sounds, yeah, okay.
All right, so what would you give The Matrix 1999?
I'm going to give that a solid 10, mate. I think
10 out of
that's
10?
a 10 out of 10 for me. And I don't
Brilliant.
score everything 10 out of 10. True Romance, that was really good. You know I love that film. That's a good 8 out of 10 for me. But a good solid 8 out of 10.
Wow, yeah, you're properly putting it up
Right.
there then. Like Matrix is probably one of your
Yeah.
favourite films of all
Top
time.
5 sci-fi films for me. Always
Right.
comes up when I talk about it. You didn't know this.
No, I didn't.
But
I didn't even know if you liked it.
Oh, mate. Honestly, top 5 sci-fi films for me, that is.
Amazing.
Yeah. So 10 out of 10 Matrix, and I'm going to say 8 out of 10 for True Romance, just to keep it up to date.
Great.
Go on then.
Wow. Well, True Romance, I'd say I'd give it highly recommended. Great fun. Well-crafted film. Deserves a place in everyone's collection. Matrix is god tier filmmaking.
Okay.
It's absolutely exquisite, and it's pretty much near perfect.
Wicked. Well, I'm sure we could talk about The Matrix forever.
Yeah.
Especially if we brought in the other films. But I think we've done that one justice. What do you think?
I'm happy with that, and I'm looking forward to next time we're going to be back at yours, aren't we?
Back at mine, yes. Back at mine. So, hot chocolate, little foot massages while we watch the film.
Okay.
My cat will do those. And
I'll have a hot chocolate. That'd be nice.
don't you tell Poppy, you're not going to have one of her foot massages. Anyway, listen, mate, that was fantastic. Put it there.
Brilliant.
That was awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks again for watching, guys. Really, really appreciate it. If you like enough to subscribe, please give us a subscribe.
Peace.
Peace out.